Good morning. Good Easter morning. He is, well, not so fast. Early on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb. She saw that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. So she came running to Peter and the other disciples and said, "He is, well, not so fast." She said they've taken the Lord out of the tomb and put him somewhere, and we don't know where. According to Mary Magdalene, Jesus' body has been stolen. So Peter and the other disciples, they went to the tomb. One disciple looked into the tomb, saw the strips of linen. Peter goes inside. He too sees the strips of linen. The disciples went back to where they were staying. Have you ever left a football game early? You know, your team's losing by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and there's just no way with a minute and a half left that your team is going to win. But by the time you get to the car, the stadium is rocking because somehow, your team has scored enough points to go ahead. And they end up winning the game you left too early. You missed the greatest, most awesome victory ever. Well, the disciples left, you're right, too early. They missed the greatest victory ever. Mary stands outside the tomb crying. She takes one more peek inside the tomb and she sees 2 angels. And they ask her, "Mary, why are you crying?" And again she says, "They've taken my Lord, and I don't know where they have put him." As she turns around, she sees Jesus standing there. He is, well, not so fast. Mary doesn't recognize Jesus until he speaks to her. Now, for Mary Magdalene, we can say, he is risen, but not so fast. The disciples, the ones who left too early, the ones who were sheltering in place behind locked doors, they're afraid. They're afraid of being captured by the Jewish guards. You know, on this Easter morning, we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. But we need to remember there are many people who are locked behind closed doors and closed minds. For them, Jesus hasn't risen. And Jesus isn't alive. What's wrong with these unbelievers? What, can't they read the story? Well, I'm sure they can. But you know, sometimes just reading a story isn't enough. They need to actually see and experience the story. Well, that's where you and I come in. And that story is the story of our life. Our life speaks a story each and every day, the way we love others, the way we care for others, the way we accept others for who they are, and the way we forgive others. That's our story, a story birthed by the resurrection of Jesus. Somehow Jesus enters into the locked room where the disciples are. His first words are, "Peace be with you." Oh, don't we need to hear and experience those 4 words? Peace be with you. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. Now, are you ready? He is risen. As we continue to shelter safe in our homes, let us remember, he is risen. And remember that Jesus came to his disciples behind locked doors. And today, Jesus can still enter into rooms where the door is locked. In the last book of the Bible, we find these words of Jesus. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my knocking, will you open the door and I will share a meal with you? Maybe today you're behind closed doors and locked doors. Your heart's been hurt. You're afraid. You're afraid to love and trust again. If so, I got a suggestion. Find a quiet place and listen. Can you hear the tapping on your heart? With each tap, Jesus is saying, I can heal your hurt. I can relieve your fear. And I will help you to love and trust again. Please don't leave this quiet place too early. Ask Jesus to open the door of your heart. He'll help you love and trust again. And when you do, you too can say, He is risen. Continue to stay safe. Keep the faith. And oh yes, remember, your life is telling a story. He is risen. And may God be with you. Happy Easter.